Hey there everybody, so if you remember from one of our last videos, we did a bit of an interview with Dave going over all of his Pokemon here, and we had a brief chat about his Charmander model here, which happens to have a nice flaming tail here. We talked about it in the past, but do you want to light this tail up, Dave?
I would love to light Charmander's tail up.
It's probably going to be a little bit difficult to do here at Brickvention, but let's take it back to the studio and get this guy all lit up.
Great idea, let's do it.
Let's send it.
Cool.
Charmander, the lizard Pokemon. When the tip of Charmander's tail burns brightly, that indicates it's in good health.
Hey guys, so I finally managed to get Dave and his awesome Pokemon Charmander down to the studio. Thanks for coming down, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Jordy.
Now, this is the first time we've actually had like a guest come into the studio and have a look at one of their models, that type of thing. So it's kind of special for us. Thanks for coming.
That's special for me as well, thank you.
Well, we've had you bring down this awesome Charmander model. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this guy? You've had him for a while now.
Yeah, I made Charmander originally about 3 years ago now. So I've had this model built for a while now. One of my favorite Pokemon as a kid growing up, so
nice.
I think it deserved the life-size Pokemon treatment. So this model here would be the same size as a Charmander if Pokemon existed in our real world.
That's actually super cool, because like a lot of the times with Lego, people will build something and it's like at a really small scale, and that's great and all, but for people like you and I who have worked with Lego for a bit longer, we go into these like bigger detailed builds, and you've done an awesome job of pulling this thing off.
Oh, thanks.
Do you know like roughly how many parts you've got in this thing?
It's almost 3,000. This little guy, well, not so little guy here. It's probably about 2,800. Is how many parts I used to create Charmander in front of us. Yeah.
And like obviously it's mainly in this like really bright orange. It's got like some teal colored eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was like the hardest part to source on this whole model?
Just the bricks, just the quantity of bricks of the orange. Probably took maybe like 4 months to accumulate all the orange. Like there's not too many orange parts in circulation, yep. So about 3 or 4 months to get all the parts I needed to actually finally make it.
That's one of the big problems whenever you're working at a big scale. It's just like you try to just smash out this model and you can come up with a 3D file or design it to a certain extent, but then you got to wait for months and months on end before you actually get to build it. Now, this thing looks awesome, and there's one little section at the back there, which is kind of why we asked you to bring this thing up.
Yeah.
So how do you reckon we'll go about that?
Well, the tail comes off, and I reckon what we could probably do is with this and this little bag of translucent bricks I have here in my back pocket, we could probably make a few changes to the tail flame here, add some translucent bits in, and you can probably show me how to light my bricks.
I know a thing or two about lighting some bricks.
Very good.
Let's go downstairs and grab some parts for it.
Cool, sounds great.
So we went downstairs and we've grabbed a range of parts, because once we tear apart this guy, we'll have a better sense of what exactly we need to light this thing up. But I figured we should have a couple flicker effects boards, because they create like a realistic fire effect. And well, we're lighting up a fire pretty much, so that's perfect. Then I grabbed a couple ranges of batteries, some expansion boards, and then just a couple different sizes of bit lights. So let's tear into this guy and figure out where we're going to put all the lights.
Great, sounds good.
Get building.
Thanks.
Talk us through what you're doing a little bit, Dave.
Well, at the moment, the little flame section is quite solid in terms of where all the parts are. So what I'm going to do is just like dismantle it slightly and just take out these big chunks of bricks and replace it with these trans pieces to allow our lights to flicker through. So here are just some parts, that little parts bag I brought for home. So lots of little trans red bricky things here. Awesome. So I'm just going to replace pretty much any red brick that was on the outside with a trans red brick, so those lights can shine through, I hope. All these bricks were on the inside, so I've used up most of my trans parts here, and then awesome. That's all been taken from the inside, and we are left with once I've kind of clipped that together, we're left with this like quite colorful shell actually.
That's actually really perfect. It's going to be really easy to light that.
Yeah, cool.
Because what we'll do is we'll legit just throw a couple of each colored bit light in underneath. So
that's a good idea.
I've got some large scale bit lights to go under the big ones, and then I've also got some orange bit lights to go under the orange sections, just to keep everything on color theme.
Cool.
And then we'll also use this little flicker effects board just to give it that little bit more pizzazz and change things up a little bit. And I think that this battery pack is going to be the best, just because it'll fit in there no problems. So what I've done here is I've kind of just staggered our large red bit lights underneath each brick, so they're kind of just in between the layers there.
Yeah, right.
And it allows you to just kind of have the bricks and each section lit up individually rather than just putting like one big light in the middle.
Ah, yeah, see, I didn't actually know that. I didn't know that the lights could actually fit underneath the bricks and sit in there. I thought we were just going to throw the lights in the center and have them come through the trans, but that's really cool that you can actually stick the lights in between the translucent bricks.
It's cool that you can do that, but it's even cooler when you hook it up to this little board.
Yeah, right.
And then they all flicker individually, even though it's the same section of flame. There we go.
Hey, that's fun. Oh, cool.
So it flickers around a little bit. It's nice and bright. It's in your face.
It is in my face.
So especially when it's sitting on the end just here, you won't really notice the intensity because it'll just be sitting there on display. Now what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to replicate that on the other side.
Great.
And then we'll go through and start thinking about lighting up some of these orange sections as well. And now that I've got like one solid braided cable, because we're going into such a tight area, I'm just going to braid it again back on itself.
Okay.
Until it's tight enough that it'll fit into the section that we're trying to make it fit. And then all the components are in the same area. And then from there, we just braid that all back together again.
Ah, it's quite easy.
So now we just have to really work on keeping everything as compact as possible so that we can put everything back together from a Lego side of things. After playing around with it for a while, I think we can successfully say we've lit up Charmander's tail.
Great. Cool.
I'm really happy with how this turned out, but what's really important is, are you happy with how the tail looks?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I didn't know what to expect, but I think you've done an amazing job. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We've used some of our bit lights and strip lights combined with a flicker effects board just to give it that little bit more of a realistic fire effect. So I'm really happy with how it all turned out.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully you can come down and bring us another little Lego project to light up, because this has been awesome fun. Thanks for coming down. It's been awesome to have you in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for showing me how to light my bricks.
Anytime, man. We'll see you in the next one. Ciao.